what? You're not a very good team, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are right now.
Louis, let me ask you, again, they're 1-2, and they were somewhat fortunate, to say the least, to win that one game against Cleveland with the mistakes the Browns make. I mean, when we say are there concerns about the Chiefs, we understand that's relative. No one's sitting here thinking, are they going to wind up 3-14? But based upon their own standards and expectations, are there concerns?
Yeah, there's concerns. Look, I think, and there's different levels of concern whether you're talking about the offense or defense. Look, I think offensively they're going to be fine. Patrick Mahomes is just going to have to make sure that he gets things going as far as not turning the football over. But I think on the defensive side is where the issues really are. Look, if you take it from back to front, the secondary got exposed against the Chargers. I think when you're talking about them going up against high-powered offenses, do they have enough coverage people to deal with the top receiving corps in the NFL one-on-one down the field? Mike Williams says no. Keenan Allen says no. You don't have enough to deal with us in your own division. Then they can't rush the passer with effectiveness right now and really put quarterbacks under duress. And lastly, but maybe most importantly, when teams decide to just line up and punch them in the mouth and run the football, they have no answer for that either. So that's taking it from back to front. Really, it starts from front to back. However you want to look at it, whatever order you want to put on it, though, they've got issues on that side of the football, and they better get them squared away some way, shape, or how. Otherwise, this offense, which I think will get on the right track, is just going to go to waste, and they're not going to be able to get back to the level that they want to.
Bart, I've had people on the show here this week tell me that they're a team that sort of thinks they can flip the switch on anytime they want to, and maybe they're finding out that doesn't work that way.
Well, like, it's the same thing, make you laugh, make you cry, right? And you got to think that success isn't owned, it's leased. And every day that work has to be put, it has to be done. And, you know, you talk about Mahomes and no-look passes and things of that sort. Usually those are things we see that his guys come down with. But just this year, you know, the football guys have said, oh, well, this one's going to be tipped, and turnovers and tip balls change games. And you talk about they're not able to protect themselves because defensively they can't stand up for themselves, right? So you think about them not being able to get, you know, meaningful stops, field position, but also this offensive line trying to come together. We know the names are legit. We talk about Tooney. We talk about going out and making a trade for Orlando Brown Jr. But like D. Wood says all the time, you know, offensive line is about chemistry, cohesion, understanding that nonverbal communication, seeing fronts and blitzes the same way. I think they're struggling with that right now to come together as a unit, and I think it's putting duress on Mahomes and getting him off his spot and got him running for his life, something we've not accustomed to seeing him do.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that as well. I mean, when you got basically a whole new starting five and they're starting to play together right now, it's going to take time for them to come together.
Sometimes it's the not so sexy stuff that winds up being the problem, and that may be the problem in Kansas City. I like that phrase. I wrote it down. Success is not owned, it's leased. Meanwhile, let's go on the clock. 30 seconds each here with a couple of different topics. D. Wood, 30 seconds. Which team needs a win the most in this week 4?
I'm going with the Giants. Listen, the block is the block is scorching in New York City right now. We all live here and we hear it all the time. And the Giants went out there and they went out and acquired all these different pieces. You know, this was a crucial year for Daniel Jones, albeit Daniel Jones is actually playing some pretty good football. Yeah. But together as a team, this team right now, they need a win in the worst way in the biggest media market.
They are at New Orleans this week in a 1 o'clock Eastern time start on Sunday. Bart, give us a team that you could see surprising us all in this week 4. 30 seconds.
Oh, for me, it's definitely the Vikings. They should have beat the Cardinals the other day. I think, you think about Cook, and I know he didn't really play this week, a practice, but that's typical. Running backs always, have a little bit more wear and tear than most. He's really probably the top 5 back in his league. I think he sets the table. Kirk Cousins is playing better than people are giving him credit for.
Yeah, at Minnesota at home this week against Cleveland, also an early kick on Sunday. And then finally, beyond Bill and Brady, which of course is what we talk about all the time. Louis, what is a matchup you can't wait to see in this week 4?
Easily, it's our Monday night matchup between the Chargers and the Raiders, because you've got 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL going at it. You got the young gun Justin Herbert, who looks fantastic, and then Derek Carr, who right now is playing at an MVP caliber, at an MVP level. Look, he has got the keys to the car in Las Vegas. He knows exactly the way John Gruden wants to have this offense run. He has shown that he can do it in a number of different ways, whether it be short, intermediate, deep passes in crunch time against.
At the buzzer, 31-29, Dak Prescott threw for 403 yards, courageous performance. You remember all the rest of that. Then week 2, They're on the right side of a game-winning kick. Greg Zuerlein, the 56-yarder, to beat a really good Charger team on the road. They ran it between Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott for 180 yards. Then Monday night, they dominated their arch-rival Eagles, 41-21 with Dak throwing 3. Zeke Elliott scoring twice on the ground. The defense picking off Jalen Hurts twice, taking one of those back for a touchdown. And I've been looking forward all week, Louis, to getting your perspective on this, because obviously Monday Night Football, you had the game. And there have been a lot of people just asking this relative question. Just how good is this Dallas Cowboys team?
Yeah, Greeny, I think, we knew, if we take it in parts, we knew that offensively that this team was going to be strong, provided that they stayed healthy, because on the perimeter, just the bevy of playmakers that they have, starting with Amari and CD and Michael Gallup when he's healthy. Look, we knew that they have the ability to attack you in so many different ways. And we knew at the running back position that this team is just strong. Look, Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are a great 1-2 punch. Zeke really reestablished the fact that I'm the lead dog here. I really am. Tony Pollard's a nice changeup, but I'm the lead dog. And you see how from a physical perspective, how they just beat up the Philadelphia Eagles front seven. I mean, they just took it to them all night long. So I think, even for myself, as good as I thought they would be, I think I underestimated them a little bit on the offensive side, in particular on the offensive line, which is really where they set the tone for that game Monday night. I mean, I'm telling you, it was something to behold. And Philadelphia never was able to catch their breath. They were never able to regroup and kind of figure out exactly what was happening, because really, there was nothing to figure out. They were just manning up and just bulldozing Philadelphia. So I think that plays in Dallas's favor, regardless of who they go up against the rest of the year. Defensively, though, this is where they were really operating at a deficit in terms of the number of players that they were missing on the front line. And they made up for it, though, with two things. One, they know what they're doing this year, because Dan Quinn really, I don't want to say he has simplified it, but he has made it so where these guys are able to go out there and play very, very, very fast without a whole lot of confusion. It's not perfect, but they play fast without a lot of confusion. And secondly, what I said just initially just now, playing fast, these guys run to the rock, man. They chase the football and the ball carrier like a bunch of wild dogs out there, and he has got them going. When they get to 100%, look out for this defense. This defense really just needs to be middle of the pack or better for this team to really do some damage. I'm better than that. And if they stay healthy on offense, look, Dak is in that matrix right now, man. He's in that matrix that the great quarterbacks get in. So look out for the Cowboys.
Yeah, look, I mean, we began with, are they the best in the NFC East? Suddenly, that doesn't feel like it's necessarily giving them enough credit. Bartholomew, how about them Cowboys?
Well, I'll tell you, how about them Cowboys? And listen, the defense is usually the easiest thing to fix, because it's really about, tenacity, running to the football, and tip balls change games. And what this Dallas defense has really been good at is turning the ball over. And with this offensive line, and you talk about the running game, that's the best recipe. I can remember being with D. Wood, and we were the number one rushing team in the league. And what it was about is being able to allow us to go out and be fresh and not let it to be a battle of attrition. What happens is once you get that team that are your opponent one-dimensional, now you can take advantage of it, because now you know exactly what they have to do to catch up, and you can salt the clock away. Now, I think, they're probably they're the top of the second tier, right? We would like to talk about the Rams. We like to talk about Tampa, maybe Green Bay, and then it's everybody else, right? So they're right there on par with teams like I believe, like the Arizona Cardinals, and maybe they can improve and get even better. And sometimes confidence is all you need to be able to stop people on the defensive side of the football.
So the top of the second tier is where you see the Cowboys in the NFC right now. You know what I like about him, D. Wood, and as an offensive lineman, we knew Dak would be able to throw the ball with those weapons, but when they need to, they are running it down people's throats, as Lewis was just saying, back-to-back weeks, so they can beat you however you want to play them.
Yeah, they got every flavor that you want, particularly on offense. And coming into the year, I talked about the key for Dallas. Everyone talks about Dak and all the weapons, but the key for Dallas were twofold. One, all of those injured offensive linemen that were out last year coming back healthy and ready to go, which they look like so far. And then on the defensive side of the football, we talked about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn. I was with Dan Quinn in New York back in the 2008. The one thing that Dan Quinn that was really apparent, Dan Quinn is an excellent teacher. He's got this system simplistic. Those guys are running to the football, and they're creating turnovers. And I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think Dallas is right there with the top teams in the league. That's my opinion. They're only going to get better. Only going to get better.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, from a talent standpoint, if they get in a shootout with a team that can match them offensively, I just don't know if they have it. That it can be exploited a little bit. We talked about Kansas City and how they're deficient on the defensive side of the ball. I think Dallas is a lesser version of that.
But when they get their guys back, remember, they got guys that are out on the defensive side of the ball. Once they get those guys back, particularly those